What's good, y'all? We back with another Sooo podcast, and I have a special guest, aka my co-host for this episode, Torre Washington.
Hey, how are you guys doing? If you guys could see the chillax place that I'm in right now, it's kind of hard to talk. I might fall asleep.
Nah, and your voice is soothing. That doesn't help. Your voice is mad. His voice is so soothing. His energy is just soothing. For those of you who don't know who Tori is, he is an amazing individual who walks this earth and blesses people with his presence every day. And that's his job.
I truly appreciate that.
He also happens to lift heavy things and put them down, and his body shows that he does that. He competes. And tell us everything you do.
Yes, so I just want to say thank you very much for having me here.
Of course.
You know, this couch is magnificent. Just sitting here, I'm just well relaxed.
Right.
I almost don't know what to do with my hands.
Right. I see that.
So my name is Torre Washington, and I was raised vegetarian.
Mm-hmm.
Went vegan in 98.
Mm-hmm.
Started competing in bodybuilding in 2009.
Mm-hmm.
Been competing since 2009, and I have my first pro show as an IFBB pro, but we'll talk more about that this coming up April. I wear many hats. I have an apparel line, which is Rethink Protein, 0% meat, 100% muscle. I have an online website where I coach people. I have 2 ebooks out for Primer and Nourish. Both, one is dedicated to the foundational exercises and training for bodybuilding, men and women. And I have an ebook that's for transitioning to a vegan lifestyle. That's as far as the eating is concerned. When it comes to bodybuilding, when it comes to just in general, it's called Nourish. I do online coaching there. I have people who I coach across the world. And I also do personal one-on-one training and coaching down in South Florida at a beautiful location called Ultimate Sports Institute in Weston, Florida. And yeah.
Let me tell you, you almost took up the whole 30 minutes just telling us what you do for a living. He does it all, y'all. If you're not doing anything right now, go to Instagram right now and follow him. Because I like to do that in the beginning. A lot of people like to say follow them at the end of the show. I don't like that. Do it right now. Just so you know, so you can put a face to the voice. It's Torre.Washington, right?
Yes,
it's TORRE dot. If you don't know how to spell Washington,
yeah.
Are you even American?
You done know already.
So Tori you were born vegetarian, like you said. What was that like? What was growing up vegetarian? And where are you from? Where were you born? What are your parents like? Like, tell me.
So, Sabrina, I was born actually in Birmingham, Alabama. Mm-hmm. A lot of people don't know that because they look at my current lifestyle, the way I live. I'm more connected to my Jamaican heritage, my roots and culture from that way. But I was born in Birmingham, Alabama. My mother moved from Jamaica, married a man from Alabama who was in the army, I believe. They met in Jamaica, moved back to the States, got married, had me. We moved to Jamaica again, but I was young. I was around 2. And my brother was born. So we lived in Jamaica for a little while during that time, but I didn't really know that timing because, you're so young.
Right.
Came back to the States, and during this time, my mother was a 7-day Adventist. And so as a 7-day Adventist, they have a health message. And their health message is one that advocates living and eating as we would in the Garden of Eden, where the tree bearing fruit is what we're supposed to eat. Everything from the tree, from the ground. And so their whole message was about that. So my mother wanted to follow it to the T, and so she raised us that way. And the 7-day Adventists have stores within their different conferences where you can purchase these things from. Now, a lot of it was canned food and things of that nature, but that was a while ago. So most of what we have now wasn't available.
Right.
So we lived in Alabama for about 9 years. Then I proceeded with my mother. She's a single mom because her and my father split when I was about 5. And she asked her parents to take us in as she worked to make enough money to provide for us more efficiently. Because, it's tough to be a single mother and have 2 boys.
Right.
Going to work, coming home, and, you wanted to make sure that everything they need is there. So we went and lived with our grandparents in Jamaica. And now, our grandparents, they're Jamaican. Them no know nothing about vegetarian.
Right.
They were like, well, they're going to eat what we give them. And my mother just specifically asked them to not feed us pork.
Okay.
So we have never had pig. I know, well, at least for myself, I could say I'd never had pig. My brother, on the other hand, I don't know if he has or hasn't. He may have dabbled in it once in a while.
Right.
Dabbled. So.
Shout out to Tony.
Exactly. It's interesting. Because of Tony, I say dabble now more often than I have before ever in my life.
There's a lot of things I say because of him. Duh.
So we lived in Jamaica and my grandparents fed us. So we had the typical Jamaican delicacy. We had curry goat, jerk chicken, snapper, ackee and saltfish, dumpling, cassava, cow tongue, cow foot, oxtail.
I've had all that.
All of them things, So,
Yeah.
and I've had that for a while. We lived in Jamaica for about almost 4 years. Then we moved back to the States because my mother wanted us to come back, even though our grandparents wanted us to stay. But I know that coming back actually helped with my change because staying there was more for schooling because we were doing good in school. We took the common entrance exam. It's an exam that you have to take going from middle school sort of to like a high school equivalent. So we came back to the States, South Florida, and we were still eating that way to a certain extent. So for a time until I started to hang out with more of my friends who were Jamaican, then we started to grow our locks for more fashion style to kind of copy the hip hop artists of the time. But then we started to really get into the whole Rastafarian culture. And as we started to read more about the Rasta was Aital. Aital was it's the mainstay, sort of like the Seventh-day Adventist way of eating. Rasta, Aital is no salt, no sugar. You want to eat more from the earth and your utensils are from the earth as well. You don't want to use what they call Babylonian means of making do because we didn't need Babylon. Babylon is considered the government, the powers that be.
Right.
So, and when I started to study more about the Rasta, I realized that a lot of the Rastas that I knew weren't actually following fully the Aital way. They were eating chicken and fish. And even me, I wasn't making sure that things that I ate had eggs or butter in it or what have you.
Right.
So I started learning more about it and I said, all right, I'm going to make sure I want to be, if I'm going to be Rasta, I'm going to make sure I'm doing it all the way.
Right.
So I don't want to be considered a hypocrite.
Right.
And that caused me to say in 1998, all right, time to just cut it all out. And I made that switch then. And from then, I didn't know that it was called vegan because I was raised around in Alabama. Everybody I saw looked like me.
Right.
There weren't any Caucasians really around to tell me what vegan was. And even when I moved to South Florida, I didn't hear much about it then either.
Right.
It's not until later on in life, as I'm learning more, people are like, oh, you're a vegan. And that's when I said, oh, what the heck is that? So I had to understand what vegan was down to the point that I didn't realize that vegan encompassed more than just what you put in your mouth. That's all I thought it was. Because to me, like in Jamaica, most of our family, animals were kept outside. You never brought them inside. In Jamaica, we had like 8 dogs. We would come home, feed them stay outside. They never came in the house. They walk in the house, get out of the house, dirty dog. That's what they would say. Because dog was to be roaming outside and man was supposed to be inside.
Right.
And so understanding that more and learning, because I had my first test. I went to a vegan festival, had a lady ask me in a line for food, because a lot of my friends are from New York. I got into the New York style.
Okay.
It's cold in Atlanta. I'm at the Veg Fest. I got a jacket on, but then I also got on my foot Timberlands.
Timbs.
I got the Timbs on, rocking the Timbs because, I want to match and look thuggish. The lady said...
I need to see this picture if this exists. I need to see a thugged out Tory picture ASAP.
Man, I even had the baggy pants, all of that. Yo, seriously.
You was coming through looking like one of the Lost Boys.
What? Seriously, yo. Daz effects for real, because I had my locks weren't that long. They were kind of down to my chin. So, I had the full head of locks. It was kind of poking out.
Yeah.
Sometimes people call me Sideshow Bob. That's how it looked like.
That's funny.
So she said to me, are your shoes vegan? I looked at her like, what are you talking about? I'm not eating my shoes. And that's when I had to be like, oh. So it's more than just.
Right.
So I had to realize that, okay, they use the skin and it's the leather. So it's the whole thing about, the ethical mistreatment of animals and how animals are. I mean, if you're vegan, you don't necessarily need to do all of that. So I had to learn more about that. And now it's more of a process. It's a journey. I think we all go through it. That's why when I see people bashing someone for not being all the way vegan,
right,
my next question to them is, were you born that way?
Exactly. I hate a judgmental vegan. They are so I'm vegan. I love all my vegans, but I can't stand y'all judgmental ones, man.
And I think they're starting to phase out.
They are. Yeah.
A lot of people are making that switch. Like, that's not cool. Right.
And that's you. All right. I'm talking to y'all, the judgmental vegans out there. You are the reason that people are like, vegans are this and vegans are that, because you're so quick to jump down somebody's throat. Like, you have to understand, like, it's all a process. It was a process for you, unless you're a miracle and you were born vegan and raised vegan. But like, it's a process for all of us. So just be patient with other people. Just be patient. I mean, obviously our time is coming because there's so many more vegan options, which is something I want to talk to you about. Like, new vegans have it easy.
Yo, they do.
New vegans. And I mean, I haven't been vegan forever, but it's been years now. And when I first went vegan, even when I first went vegetarian like 14 years ago, it was my options were salad and like falafels, and like it wasn't
I remember that.
It wasn't anything spectacular, but now I can go into a restaurant and be like, what's your vegan option? Like, well, we have a veggie burger and we have this, and like they'll have like a vegan, like, I have a vegan salmon cake for you. I'm like, what? Like, the hell? So it's like seeing that transition from 98 to now, food wise, like, how does it make you feel? Like, how proud do you feel to be somebody who is ahead of the game and watch it become what it's becoming?
I never looked at it like that in the past because I just thought it was my lifestyle, just the way I was living.
Right.
I didn't even think about, I know once I started competing, even my boys who weren't vegan, they knew Tori was vegan all the time. I'm in college.
Right.
People cracking jokes like, yo, Tori's good, man. He'd go outside and eat some tree bark and some grass and he'd be good. And people laugh hard. Right. Anytime I go out, I have to tell them what to make for me. And everybody's always interested in what I'm eating. I mean, I ate mostly tofu. Or found some burritos that would heat up in the microwave. Yes, I did use microwave. I was, that single bachelor life, you just stuff to get you by. And so I was doing that, and I never thought about, all right, things gonna change, because I didn't think about it like that. Right. Even when I would go someplace and then get, vegan cupcakes, they weren't that great. They were like dry, and you're like, that's like that. Thank you very much. I really appreciate that. Meanwhile, I'm tossing it over there. But to see it now, it's like, whoa,
mind blowing.
It's crazy. I didn't know about all of this stuff that you can do now. And the good thing about it is it helps those people who really look at the lifestyle and want to participate feel like they can transition. They can, all right, I won't miss burgers. I won't miss this, and I won't miss that. They can get it in a plant-based form and still feel like, they are living their life just the way it is. And that's one of my things, is to make it so that this lifestyle becomes just the way it is versus a label.
Yes.
Because even before someone decided, let's create this vegan thing, people just ate. They never really said, hey, man, I'm a meat eater. You too? Yeah, I'm a meat eater too.
Right.
They were just, hey, man, what you going to eat? Oh, I'm thinking I'm going to get some pizza. All right, what you want on it? That's about it.
Mm-hmm.
Now we have so many different labels, especially within the community that's quote unquote called vegan, that some think they're better than others because you eat that and I eat this. So it causes a discord within a movement.
Right.
So, but I'm glad to see the changes. I mean, it makes it so much easier for the newbies to come up and they can be raised vegan and not even recognize it. And be like, oh, I'm vegan? Oh,
right.
That's just the way I eat.
Right.
You know, I'm able to eat everything. I don't feel like I'm missing.
Right.
Because they don't know. Now they see that their parents can give them everything that they had as a child to their current children in a vegan form.
Right. All right. So I'm about to get real controversial real quick. How do you feel about like vegans let's say white vegans, right? How do you feel about white vegans who go really hard for for animal injustice, like animal cruelty and all that other stuff, but they turn away from like social injustice? And do you feel like it should go hand in hand? Do you feel like if you're fighting hard for animals, you should also be fighting hard for, like immigrants and Black Lives Matter and like all that other stuff? Do you feel like that all should be within the same pot, pretty much?
Yes, of course. I think we also have to realize that there's a disconnect. Because just like I said, when I went vegan, I didn't realize about the animal aspect about it, because I'm sitting here still studying the ancient history of our people and what we had to go through and still go through, being treated worse than animals.
Right.
Think about thrown in the slave ships, locked down there, had to lay down there in that ship all the way across the ocean to get to Brazil or the Caribbean islands or to get here, and having to sip water through feces and pee just to survive. And then, yes, of course, now the shift just went from us to the animals, because it's like that power control. And so if I can manipulate one, okay, now we can't do that anymore. Let's manipulate the other. But while manipulating the minds of those who feel like they need it. So it's a twofold system. I can control these animals and I can control the people that need it because they feel like they need it for sustenance. So to fight for, your battles, people choose their battles, of course.
Right.
We, in a sense, look at our history and like, man, that's still something we need to take care of, because to a certain extent, mentally it's still there. And even physically. When it comes to some Caucasians who never had that aspect, there's no reason. They don't feel like it's a problem. Like, hey, wait a second, you can get a job. You can go do this, you can go do that. That's not going on anymore. You're not locked up in shackles and having to pick cotton all day, or have to stay in master's house and cook food, and take care of their kids. So they're like, all right, I need to go for those who don't have a voice. And in a sense, we are kind of fighting for those who didn't have a voice.
Right.
But it's in the future.
Right.
It's taking what we learned from the past to make it our future, to make the future better.
And how comical is it to you, the people who chant all lives matter and aren't vegan?
Yeah, that's crazy.
Isn't it stupid? It's the stupidest thing ever.
It's kind of like positive, negative, yin and yang that goes on in the world.
Right.
You have one, you got to have the other. It's almost impossible to have just one.
Right.
And so I think the goal should be to understand that that's going to be there, but not to allow it to misdirect you from your path.
Right.
Because it's as if you go out into the world and know, okay, there's certain states of the United States of America are going to have a full spring, a full winter, and a full summer, and a full fall. These things are going to always be there.
Right.
So if you go out there and think, oh, damn, here comes summer, I don't know what to do, it's going to happen. So that's the same way. It's not a surprise.
Right.
You start with one positive, there's going to be a negative.
Of course.
And the goal is to see, how do you react to it?
Yeah, because I always find that funny. It's like, you don't have to hide your racism behind all lives matter, because if all lives truly matter, you would be vegan. Like, don't try to like combat with Black Lives Matter saying, but all lives matter. Shut up. You just had bacon.
Right.
Like, you know
and I
mean?
think for a certain, they're probably not even thinking animals. They're thinking
not.
people, all people.
But all lives, they should just say all humans matter.
Exactly.
You know, change the lingo. Or just say I'm racist. Just just say that. Just be real. Keep it 100.
That's true.
Just be like, listen, I don't really care. Just say it.
And I think, you know, that brings up a good point. Most people are afraid to really express how they feel.
Right.
Because we're so concerned about other people's feelings that we hide behind doors and say things versus being out in the open. And I think that's almost like a human trait, to be a little bit deceiving.
Oh, yeah.
Versus, let me just be honest, because we've been taught, don't say nothing, especially if you don't have nothing nice to say. What's nothing nice to say if the person wants an honest answer? Why not give them an honest answer?
And it's funny because I feel like, you know, we're from a different generation in general. Like, I feel like we definitely were raised as do this, be like this, act like this, talk like this, just so people don't think this. But I feel like today's generation, they're kind of like, they have the internet to raise them. And with the internet, it's more like, yo, be you, be true to who you are, say how you feel, don't hold back, and just let go. And then, like, that gives me like hope. But what scares me is that there's so much negativity, and there's so much there's so many young people who think it's cool to troll. It's not cool to troll. Like, you know what I mean? Is they think it's cool to be problematic, but it's not. And then that's worrisome. Like, yeah, you don't have to like something, but you don't have to constantly attack it.
Interesting story. The other day I was at Whole Foods going into the store, and there was a kid riding his bicycle down the sidewalk, and he was passing up some shopping carts, and there was a bike parked in a bike rack. So his bike was kind of big, and there was a guy walking down to his car. I was coming onto the sidewalk, and he kind of bumped the bike, and I almost fell. And the guy said, "That's bad driving there, buddy." The kid said, "Fuck you." Oh,
wow. Okay. You know,
the kid looked like 13.
That's crazy.
And it was like a 60-year-old man.
To a 60?
Yeah.
Ooh.
And the guy said to me, he said to me, he said, "Wow." I said, "What happened?" He said, I told him bad driving, and he told me, "Fuck you." I was like, whoa.
The old man was just being a typical old man.
Correct.
Like, oh, hey, kids. Like, yes, I mean, that's what they do. That's what old people do.
But like you said, he felt he could just express himself like that. Like,
right.
Actually, he really didn't have to say anything, but
he didn't. He could have just been like, huh.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If you don't have to like it, but don't cuss out your elders.
Right.
It's so annoying. What's your favorite dessert? Because I'm a dessert head.
Me too. But the thing about me, Sabrina, is I like everything. It's so tough for me to pick one thing over the other.
Right.
Like today, that shake. Ooh, that shake was the bomb.
Oh man, we went to Monty's Good Burger today, and he was like, "What flavor shakes do you have?" Why they tell us like 57 different flavors, and we're supposed to pick one? Just give me all of them. Just give me a flight of shakes.
So I like ice cream, donuts, cinnamon rolls, brownies. You know, apple pie. I don't even think I can pick something. If I saw a smorgasbord of different ones, it'd be hard to say, "Oh, that's my favorite."
Right.
I would want to taste them all.
I feel that.
But I think for simplicity and maybe the effect of how it melts in your mouth is a nice glazed fresh donut.
Oh, okay.
I've had Ronald's Donuts in Las Vegas, kills it.
I still haven't gone there.
Oh, yo, and you were there.
I was just there, and we go there often. Next time he's there, I'm gonna try to convince him, because we're both on some like super strict, try not to be trash with what we eat.
Well, that's the thing. I think there has to be just balance.
Yeah.
If you have balance, you're not, because when you restrict yourself, then you feel the need to binge because you're like, oh man, I can't have, and then you're putting your body and your metabolism in a yo-yo state. You
Right.
want to keep it in more of a even keel, so that way you're not sitting there just wondering, "Oh, what was that? What is that going to be like?" Like right now, I'm good.
Right.
After having that, I was like, "All right, cool. I can keep moving forward because I was able to dabble in a little bit and move on."
True. You know what? You know what I want to talk about? I want to talk about how we met.
Yo,
We've been following each other for a long time,
and I saw the Wu-Tang. When you
Yes.
did the Wu-Tang stuff, you sold me because I'm a huge Wu-Tang fan. I would buy albums. People were like, "That did you really buy a Wu-Tang album?"
Yes.
I said, "Yeah, it's Wu-Tang."
Absolutely.
Even if it was after like 5-7 years of them being already, because they lasted they did good for a good 10.
Man, they still doing good, man.
I feel so.
Don't
Whatever they put out is hot to me.
Yeah, it's dope. I'm a fan.
Yeah.
No matter what. I don't care what. They just put out makeup. I don't even wear makeup, but I'll buy it.
Are you kidding me?
They put out a lipstick. It's $50 per color.
What?
But it's so dope. It's so dope. I want it so bad.
You gotta see this movie called Peppermint.
Oh yeah, Tony was telling me about that.
You know who's in it?
Who?
It surprised the heck out of me.
Wait, hold on.
I don't even know if I want to tell you because I just want you to see it. And
all right, don't tell me because I'm good. I like
we were just talking about Wu-Tang, so
yeah,
you'll
so
see.
now it's one of the 56
Correct.
members.
I
of
was
Wu-Tang.
watching it on the plane. I said, "Oh shoot, I didn't know he was in this." And I just picked the film to watch it because I liked what's her name, Jennifer Gardner, when she used to play that. I remember she had a TV series where she played sort of a secret agent kind of thing.
No.
Oh man, it was tight.
Sorry.
So, anyways, she was in it, and she's a badass.
Yeah, and I'm gonna definitely watch it.
It made me. I said, "Dang, how come I never heard of this film?" But
yeah, definitely gotta watch it. But yeah, so all right, so we were following each other for a long time. We have a mutual friend, John. Shout out to Badass Vegan.
Yeah.
Another person you should follow on Instagram. And then we just always knew of each other's existence. And then one time it was at, I think it was out here. I know it was in LA.
Was it Eat Drink Vegan or
it might have been Eat Drink Vegan. It was the one at the Rose Bowl.
But it was Beer Fest before.
Okay, yeah.
And I think because I saw you with the grills.
Yeah,
I
we
said,
had
what?
grills on.
I gotta bring my grills.
We actually both had grills on at the event.
Yes.
I had my Wu-Tang shirt. I have our first picture. I was just looking at the other day. I was like, look at us.
And was it the one where we both had the grill in?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
That was awesome.
We met in person and
we kicked it because I remember we went to why were we hanging out in that corner for a while? Was I waiting on a ride or something? Waiting on my boy?
We were just posted though.
We were just chilling.
Posted.
Yeah, we had a cool ass time, and I never got to kick it with you in New York. Nah. I know that's where you.
That's my.
Yeah, stomping grounds. Yeah.
Look. Anybody listening, if y'all want to catch me somewhere, catch me in New York. Cause I'm gonna show you places. I'm gonna put y'all on. There used to be this one place called Curly's in New York. It's a vegan. It was a vegan diner way before Champs.
Wow.
And it was like in the 90s and stuff like that. It shut down early 2000s. I don't know exactly when. And it became Hotel Tortuga, which is a like vegan, vegetarian, Mexican spot. And another spot in New York that used to be really dope back in the day was Food Swings.
Never heard of that.
Oh, and it closed as well. New York had some really dope vegan stuff before vegan was what it is today.
Yes, and there was a place, the Creamery. I don't know.
Oh yeah, the Jewish spot, the ice cream spot.
Yeah, what happened to that? That's
still open.
Did it move?
I don't think so.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. Last time I was there, it was in the Jewish part of Brooklyn. So there's this Jewish ice cream spot in Brooklyn, and for those who don't know, I don't know if it's just Hasidics. I know there's a reason in Judaism that they don't do dairy. Like there's certain days I think they don't do dairy. It's something like that. I could be wrong, but I know that the ice cream spot is mostly vegan. Mostly, and like a lot of their food is mostly vegan. Like I used to go to Jewish spots just to find like a vegan meal back in the day.
And then even Catholicism. I didn't realize Lent was basically a time where they don't eat meat or whatever like that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Which to me is, wait, you have a national day that you don't do it, and you don't think that, okay, maybe I should make this entirety.
Right.
It's wild.
I don't know. Religious people are crazy. Shout out to my religious people, man. I love y'all. God bless. God bless. Whoever y'all believe in, you know what I mean?
That's so interesting. Yeah, because you ever seen the Netflix called Punisher?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's very interesting how TV and media tells you truths with fiction.
Yeah,
because
that's true.
they know that psychologically most people aren't going to think that's real.
Right.
Oh, it's a fiction, it's a movie, it's not something they're actually doing. Well, no, they're using some of that methodology to manipulate you by emotions and control the way you respond to certain things. So
right. All right, well, we gotta wrap it up because it's over 30 minutes. Yeah, this was fun.
This was really fun. You gave me some idea. This is awesome. I appreciate it. I'm glad to get this opportunity to be a part of this, and you're making history here. So
I'm trying.
I'm proud of you, girl.
Thank you.
No, thank you.
Next time you're back in LA, you got to come back on.
Hey,
we'll talk about whatever.
I'll be here in April.
We'll talk about Wu-Tang.
Yeah, we'll talk more about Wu-Tang and my competition that you're gonna come to.
It'd be cool. Maybe I'll invite a member from Wu-Tang. You know what I mean?
Yo, I have not met any one of them. Like, seriously met.
Mm-hmm.
Just, I saw Redman and Meth in Birmingham for a show about 4 years ago, and I know they came out. They were like, "Damn, it's not packed." I could see it in their face, and they went back, but it was enough. And then they came and did their thing and hung out. And I was like, "Damn, I would love to." I've always my favorite and one to really meet is the RZA.
RZA's so dope. He's so dope. He seems almost not real.
Yeah.
Like I don't know. I've seen them perform a few times, and it's still, I'm like, are you a real person?
Speaking of that, real quick, what's the name of that song that he did where he is wearing the rings and he's fighting that guy sort of like karate, and they fly through the air and they fall down?
You talking about the music video?
Yes, but the song itself, he drops so much knowledge in it. I mean, he always does, but this one it's crazy. I just wish I've been wanting to remember it so I could put it on my phone so I can listen to it often. That was one of my most admirable songs that he's ever created.
Is it just straight up the RZA?
Yeah, I don't know, because I know he got Bobby Digital and all the other aliases, which is crazy. He was ahead of his time, Bobby Digital. Right. He talked about how everything was going digital. Yep. And digital here we are. Is crazy.
Y'all listening to this from something digital in your hand. Like, it's crazy. RZA is, I don't know what he is. All of them are in their own way are prophets in my mind. Yeah. I feel like the Wu-Tang is nothing but like that should have been a religion. I would have followed that. I would be at whatever church or whatever you want to call it. I'd throw up the
throwing
woo.
up the W.
Wait, quick story before I leave. I met Raekwon mad randomly in New Orleans. And I remember I went to go see The Roots. This night did not seem real. New Orleans did not seem real. First, it started with, I went to a Dave Chappelle show. This was the whole night. I went to a Dave Chappelle show. I met up with my friend over there. And then after that, got invited to go see The Roots. So I went to go see The Roots in this like small little person. Like, it was like a very, like, it wasn't too small, but it was a dope setting. And I was like, yo, this is so amazing. And everyone kind of left after they performed, but some people hung out. And I was walking to go get water. And when I came back to where I walked by this dude, and he's like, something about his energy that I was just like instantly drawn to look at him. And I look and I'm like, oh shit, it's the chef. I was like, it was Raekwon. But he sees it in my face. Mind you, I was alone at this point. He sees it in my face and I'm like, oh shit. Because I was really bad at like hiding it. I was like, yo. And he gave me a look like, what's up? Yeah, it's me. So I walked over. I was like, yo. His boy's like, oh, you a fan? I'm like, a fan? I showed him my Wu-Tang tattoo. I'm like, yo, man. He's like, yeah, I'll introduce you. I'm like, I'm right here. Like, you don't have to introduce me. I'm right here. Right. So like, I introduced myself. I told him like, yo, man, you're so dope. Like, I hate that I'm fangirling right now, but like, Wu-Tang are the only people that will make me like, Same. It was so dope. He ended up being super cool, super calm. But yeah, man. And then with the rest of that night, the reason that night was so crazy is that after that, I got invited to an after party of that, and it was at Solange's barn in New Orleans, and Dave Chappelle was there, and like it was like a whole bunch of random ass celebrities, but everyone's I probably shouldn't be talking about this, but like everyone seemed like they were on something except for like me and my friend. And we were like, yo, if we get kidnapped or killed or whatever, like, he's like, oh, I don't know why I'm here. I'm like, yo, we're going to get kidnapped. Yeah. This is such a weird setting. But it was so dope. And I was like, yo, I met Raekwon. I'm good for the rest of my life.
I would love to.
Yo, if I got kidnapped that night, I would have been okay with it.
Yo.
I would have been telling the kidnappers, like, hey, man, I just met Raekwon.
Yo, this girl keeps talking about she met this guy named Raekwon.
just return her.
Just let her go.
Let her go.
Seriously.
But all right, guys, that was my story. It's stupid, I know. Okay.
We're gonna talk more offline.
Yes. So you already know. Follow me if you don't already. Sabrina Sith and Torre Washington is Torre.Washington on Instagram, on everything, huh?
Well, Instagram is the only one that's Torre dot. Everything else, YouTube is Torre Washington official, I think. And like Twitter, Torre Washington, Facebook, Torre Washington.
I remember when you were the dread.
Yeah, I used to be the vegan dread.
The vegan dread.
But then I said, that's not sustainable. And, if you think about something, most people want to be known by their name.
Right.
And what if I cut my locks? What, I'm going to still be the vegan dread?
Right.
So,
right.
Not necessarily saying I'm going to cut them.
I was going to say.
If they start to fall out or something happens.
Oh, okay. You got to go bold.
Yeah, I wouldn't do the whole, let me hold on to some around the sides and the back.
Yeah, don't do that. Actually, do it. Fuck it. have a Jedi braid or Jedi dread right here behind your ear, just one.
Have a comb over, a
right.
dread over.
All right, guys. Love
Much
you.
love.
Bye.